before that, we did our game of the year, which I guess we can also just ask you before we kind of get into anything, like what was your game for 2023 or 2022?
2022, you mean?
Sorry, yeah, 2022. What was your kind of favorite game personally?
That's a good question, actually. I don't know if I have an answer for that because there's a lot of good games that came out in 2022, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm thinking about the games that stuck out to me, that's like, oh, that's the one. I really can't tell you what it might be. I'm actually struggling to remember what I played last year. Um,
I for us it was I think I know we did Elden Ring. That was the
you
one
know
for
what?
me, but
You know what? Yeah, I think it's gonna be Vampire Survivors actually.
that's a good no one we actually didn't no
Yeah.
one said Vampire Survivor. I think Ehe was on Monster Hunter Rise or
Uh-huh.
slash Sunbreak, and then Inu was Sound Voltex, and then me and Soul were Elden Ring. So that's yeah, that's a good round because honestly I saw someone a streamer that I like, they do a lot of fighting games, but they were actually playing Vampire Survivors for the first time like a couple weeks ago, and they got addicted. Like 4 of their streams, nothing but like Vampire
Vampire
Survivors for
Survivors,
8.
yeah.
They were just getting everything, and it was good to see because, like I said, I like watching that game. I can't play it that as well, even though you don't need a lot of skill to play it or anything. But
Mm.
I just like the sound effects. I just like listening to the. It's like slot machines, man. There's some
Yeah,
addiction to
yeah, for
it.
sure. It's definitely, to me, I mean, if you want to talk about it really quickly, to me, it has the same kind of like, what is it? The mental like response, the feedback that I get from games like Cat of Dynasty, where like in Cat of Dynasty, you just like you start out really small and you're
Hmm.
like picking up like thumbtacks and that kind of stuff, and you see like a book in the distance. I'm gonna get that book. I'm gonna get that book one day, and then you build up your catamaran big enough and you finally roll over the book and you just feel really good. You're like, fuck yeah, I did it. And then you see like a person, I want to get that person. And then it just like repeats over and over again.
And it's to the
And
point. I, I
yeah,
I was gonna say a
that
lot of
build up.
people like they get to a point where they just say it's zen. You zone out because you're
Yeah,
killing so many things so fast that the
yeah.
game is playing itself, right?
Well, if you get a good build eventually, yeah.
Yeah. So
When you first start out, like it's actually quite difficult, I would say. Like if you're doing a fresh save file and you don't have that many upgrades on your, because there are upgrades that persist for all your characters.
right,
And
right.
is there's like less damage, like more speed, more health recovery, and those are upgrades that you get for all the characters that you have. And if you have no like none of those upgrades, like it can get pretty tricky. But like once you do enough runs, maybe you're not
Hmm.
gonna win every single run, and you probably won't actually when you first start out. But you build enough like currency, you get enough currency, and then you're gonna buy this upgrade, you buy this upgrade, and once you buy all the upgrades, and then you're like rolling pretty smoothly, and that's when it gets like zen for you. So if you haven't
It's
played enough, I know you bought it. I don't think you didn't play too much of it,
I
but
didn't play
like,
too much of it because like
yeah,
I'm not good with like doing different builds and knowing what synergizes with each other and kind of like exploring that too much. Like that's just not my thing. But I mean, it's the game. It's on Game Pass. I don't know if it's still on Game
oh,
Pass.
he's on Game Pass.
It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
true. Yeah,
super cheap, even if it's not on
yeah,
Game Pass. It's like
yeah. Just pay for
3.99.
it. Yeah,
You can
it
get it
actually
on
has so
mobile. You can
DLC.
get
Yeah,
anywhere.
DLC dropped for it like a couple weeks ago, actually.
They were playing like what was it like Christmas levels? There was like a Japan theme level. There were like
Well,
there
it's
were
actually
levels,
one
but then there
level.
was
It's just like one big map,
oh okay
actually.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's DLC for that now. If you go to the Steam page for it, a lot of people I think are joking, but they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna buy this game. I'm not gonna buy this on sale. I'm gonna wait for it to be full price because it's so cheap."
There was a lot of content just in terms of like
Yeah,
unlocking the tarot cards and then unlocking each
yeah.
of the
But the
survivors,
DLC
the
itself
weapons.
is so cheap. And if you already own Vampire Survivors, I don't know if they're still doing it, but if you already own Vampire Survivors, which is necessary for the DLC, you get a discount on the DLC. So like,
Get a discount on
yeah,
you get a discount on the DLC for a game that really doesn't need any more
it's really
discounts.
cheap. Yeah,
It's
but I mean,
499 like 499 yen, which I mean I guess in USD that could be
like
anywhere but
3 to 50 or something. Yeah.
350 or something, and the actual if you get the bundle that's 25% off, that comes with the Legacy of Moonspell, which you were saying I think is the
The DLC,
addition,
yeah.
the DLC, and that's just honestly 499 yen then just goes up to 558 yen. Still cheap. That's $5
Yeah.
probably, so if you're curious about it, if you heard people talk about it, you can be playing for literally a month plus.
Yeah, I mean, so I did a lot of streams with it too. So Vampire Survivors doesn't have like a story or anything. Um, it's just one of those games that like kind of blew up a little bit over the summer. A lot of people were streaming it, and then I was like, oh, I'll check it out, and then I just kind of like got sucked into it and I played a lot of hours. So for me, that'd be my pick of 2022. Actually, Vampire Survivors was actually a game that kind of blew up among owners of the Steam Deck because it's such an easy game to run on the Steam Deck, and it's it's a pick up and play kind of thing. So
Exactly, exactly. And kind of transitioning into our topic, once again, if you're listening to us on YouTube, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you found us there. And if you're listening via other means, iTunes, Google Play Podcasts, Spotify, anything like that, go ahead and leave a 5-star review and let us know what you think about the show. But moving on, of course, yeah, it was a game